Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Blacktop Banter, and this is episode 64. We're rolling right along. We're getting a good variety of guests, and I'll let my guest today introduce himself, and then I'll tell you how we got connected.
Hey, what's up? Thank you for having me on Blacktop Banner, Marvin. Appreciate you, brother. I'm Ray Leonard Jr., son of Sugar Ray Leonard. People who follow boxing probably know me or know my father at least. And you may not know my background story. I'm a business entrepreneur. I was a two-sport athlete. I played football in Ohio at Ohio University. You see my helmet back here. I ran track and
Mm-hmm.
field. I was on the USA team. I was a high hurdler. I'm only like 5'10", so you probably didn't think I was state champion and ran for the USA team in Russia and in Spain. So I was pretty good at that. Became a sports agent, did my thing for a long time because it was 1996 when I graduated from college and Jerry Maguire came out. And I said, if Tom Cruise can do it, I can do it too. With
Good.
show for money. I did
That's
my
right.
thing,
That's
right?
right. That's
That was
right.
my thing, represented some of the top athletes in the world, enjoyed some success. Sold my company by the time I was 26 years old and grew into a whole different space. My life came to fruition when, well, public notice, I came to fruition in 1973 when
Uh-huh.
my teenage parents had me. So came then,
Yeah.
but people started to know about me in right around 1980 when I was about 7 or 8 years old, and I did this commercial for Seven Up. I'm sure we'll talk about that later. But I'm just happy to be here, share my knowledge and wealth. I'm a coach, I'm a husband, I'm a parent, and I'm just a guy trying to make in this life and leave a legacy that's worth living.
Yeah, and I think I'm getting to that point myself. I think that's why we kind of connect in that way too. I'm all about my legacy right now. Yeah, and I also notice you live a very, in my opinion, I guess you live a very fulfilled life, my friend. It's full of a lot, and it makes my heart full to see everything that you're involved in, and we try to do the same here and live fulfilled lives as well. So we connect, you and I, though, through a mutual friend, right? Somehow in a weird galaxy, Prince Daniels and I became friends through Clubhouse app, and then I started following him on everything. And that guy is my brother. I truly believe that. And you guys connect, right? You guys are have a podcast together, Ringside, which I love. I love boxing. I love combat sports. As you can see, there's a lot back here, man. Sean Shirk, Randy Couture, who I spent some time with. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. So
I got a picture of me and Randy back when we'll talk about it, but I'll send it to you so you can add it to the whole to your
cool, cool. I will. Yeah, he's a fantastic guy. Fantastic guy.
yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about. I kind of want to talk about your family, man, because this is a family industry. The asphalt world is, and that's why we work. That's why we put our boots on every day. That's why we start the trucks up and head out. And you got a wonderful family too, right?
Yeah, man. My family is interesting. We have a massive family. Uh, my father had six brothers and sisters. On my mother's side, there's another seven brothers and sisters. So
Whew.
thousands of grandkids and cousins and all kinds of stuff. So we are a big family. We are from the South. My mother was from Georgia,
Yep.
and my dad's from Wilmington. He was born in Wilmington, North Carolina, but we have big roots in South Carolina.
I
And
got you.
we all ended up in the Washington D.C., Maryland area. So
Mm-hmm.
so there's a lot of Leonards and Wilkinsons floating around this world. So there's a big history of where we came from. So and
Good.
expansions and marriages and everything else, so your family starts to grow. You talk about the asphalt world. I have an uncle that is pretty big in Orange County. Uh,
Really?
TLG Construction. So Tom Gilchrist is my uncle.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, and he's
Man.
pretty fly for a white guy, but I mean he has been going
Yeah.
on. But he does asphalt. He does a lot of stuff for all around here in California and Orange County.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a recognizable name in the industry, especially in California. Yeah. Do. Crazy. Like I said, there's always connections to asphalt. No matter what, there's always one. I can find one no matter what if I dig good enough, for sure.
Yeah, like I said, but besides my family, I'm probably involved in every single business around the world.
Yeah,
I'm not even that good, too.
that's right. That's right. Some we don't want to talk about.
Yeah, my uncle, he's a like direct connection to that.
I got you. I got you. Cool. Very cool. Very cool. So let's talk about that kind of as well. I mean, we could touch on the commercial. It's an iconic commercial. That's kind of where it all started, for people that recognize, oh yeah, this is his boy. Well, when you were in that commercial and they were shooting it, did you have any idea what was going on?
Here's the back story. I mean, I was born in Prince George's County, Palmer Park, Maryland. We didn't have much. My father and mother, of course, they were teenagers. My mother was 15. My father was 16.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it was 14 people to a 2-bedroom house in my mother's side where I stayed with my cousins, and my cousins peed the bed, and so it was terrible for me to sleep in like bunk beds. But we all have our stories. Like here,
We do.
Came up from. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, my father wins the gold medal in 1976, and
yep.
There was a whole story behind like him not knowing where his kid was or whatever, and the thought process was behind it was to to show that you can have a strong Black family in sports that are doing something really, really good, and to be out and be commercially friendly. So they came to me once my father got the endorsement from 7-Up, and they said, when you do this commercial, and I was like, hell no, I'm not doing no damn commercial. I don't want nobody knowing me. I was a very shy kid. Mm-hmm. And my father said, here, if what do you want to do the commercial? I said, give me that 3-wheel motorcycle. I've been watching on TV. They had just promoting the little 3-wheel dirt bikes.
Yep.
So he promised me that, and I said, okay, I'll do it. And it became an iconic commercial.
It did.
I had the words, no, and it said, is that the champ? And I was like, nah, that's just my dad. And I had no idea how that thing was going to go, but everybody knew me for the next 20 years of my life by this kid. They thought I was going to be 7 years old for the next 20 years.
Yeah, for sure.
It was weird, but it was a blessing because, I got to see so many different things, open my eyes up that my story is bigger than just my block. Mm-hmm. I coach or I train kids that are from areas like where I came from. And they think, okay, here, I got to be the baddest person on my block. It's like the world is so much bigger than that.
Oh, yeah.
Than just what's on your block. So open your eyes to see the opportunity that you have. And, I'm glad I actually did that commercial because I got some residuals, which you understand later on in life that, hey, that was pretty cool.
That's all right. Yeah, that didn't work out so bad. Do you think, I come from a rough upbringing too, and we were poor, no doubt about it. And I think that's kind of why it's instilled in me to work so hard, and I keep working so hard. I know I'm not going back there, but there's a little kid in there that remembers what it was like, and he don't want to go back to that, right? Yeah, I'm still having fun. I'm a big kid inside, so I'm still having fun as that kid, as an adult, with success that I would say I've had.
Like you talk about that. I mean, I'm sorry that.
No, go ahead.
Next question, but that's that motivator. If you've seen it that way and you had a brief moment of success, you know that you can do it. It's not going to stop you from whatever your circumstances are, and you can go into a space where like, okay, I'm not going back to that because I know the routine or what I need to do to stay out of it.
Yeah,
there's method to the madness.
Yeah,
like young kids always think that here because I'm born into this, I can't be bigger than this.
Yeah.
So that is a thing that I preach every single day. My grandfather was a sharecropper who picked cotton and had a 6th grade education, and he raised his kids and changed their lives, took them out of a situation of poverty in South Carolina, moved to Washington D.C., and he became a manager of a grocery store.
Yeah,
which doesn't seem like a big thing, but from where he came from,
I guarantee it was. Yes, sir.
Show his kids that if you work hard and you figure it out and you think and you trust in yourself and have that self-esteem that you're bigger than what your circumstances are.
Yeah, once you get that little bit of success or any kind of little bit of success, right, where all of a sudden you're like, I think I could do more, right? Like, man, I believe I could do more. So then now, like, I'm on a mission. Like, how much can I do? Like how, what all can I succeed at? And yeah, you're exactly right. It lights a fire in you. And once you're on that path, it would be very hard to deter me, as I believe it would be very hard to deter you as well from everything we're involved in and what we're doing. Can we, in our industry, we have generational businesses, right? So, your uncle, I'm guessing, might have some sons that are going to be in that business and come up through it. In the asphalt world, that's very, very, very common. What we run into once in a while is guys that are trying to do their own thing, right, and carve their own path. And I thought, with us being connected in a way, I could ask you about that, because obviously your dad being as successful as he was in the ring, that carried over outside of the ring as well. But my man, you've carved a great path for yourself. You live a very fulfilled life, and your take on the world is different than your father's take on the world. And your path is different than your father's path, and had success in many different fields. Now I've noticed it's getting outside of just sports. And I have there's always that saying, if you do what you love and you can get, if you have something that you love and you do and you're good at it, you can get paid for it. Well, sports was just, man, I love sports. I know you love sports because you went into it and you had that success. What was that like, trying to figure that out? Did you have that issue at all, Ray? Like guys in our industry are going to have, being as their dad was this icon at their business or whatever, and then the boy carves his own path.
Yeah. So I always go into what I say, what was the most impactful thing that my grandfather told me. That was, you know better, you do better. So all I knew was sports, and that's my family was in sports at that, and that's what I thought from a Black community, that here, the only thing we can be great in, like Nas said, is Black, or Jay-Z said, is sports and entertainment.
Yeah.
Right? But then I realized that there's a bigger world, because as much money as my father was making from what he was doing, somebody was paying him.
Oh yeah.
So, as me as a boss, to figure out and say, okay, here, how the hell are you paying him this much? Because you got to be making 10 times that much.
Yes, sir. Yes.
I learned that here, this is the 20 is, especially from like a pay scale. When I have employees, it has to be 20%, less than 20% of what the revenue is, to be able to pay my employees. That's why I'm paying you 20% of what.
Yes, sir.
Right. So yeah. When I saw that changed my whole thought process of how just athletics and business is. And I wanted to know what it was that the secret sauce was behind it. So I was curious as a person, because we're not here, for a long time. So we got to make sure that we maximize what we're able to do. And
yeah,
my whole vision was to say, I want to coach people to be better in my community, but also my kids to know that here, you have an opportunity to grow and do whatever you want to do within your time here on this planet or in the world, to make yourself successful. But your success is defined by what you say success is, not by what somebody else says it is.
Yeah, exactly.
If me being in the shadow of my father, who was a 6-time world champion and a gold medalist, and thinking that my success was based upon what he did, I'd be lost.
Yes, sir.
Way different. I mean, when I went to college, the first person in my family to go to college and get a degree, that was my gold medal.
Yes, sir.
Building a business from 20 years old, 21 years old, and selling at 26, that was my world championship. So you have to define what you do. We all have our fingerprint in our own identity for a reason. And our past is not going to be the same, no matter who you are. So when you're dealing with it, you're coming from a background, maybe it's his history that your parents may have done, the asphalt business or whatever business was. You can follow in it and grow it and make it bigger or better. Or you can just make it say, here, that this is something I want to pass down to my kids.
Yeah.
But your legacy and what you do, that is what is believed in history. And that's what you can leave behind, because we can't take it with us.
No. And I think once you find out that success, the true definition, I think, of success and of wealth actually is how happy you are day to day. Right. And how fulfilled you feel day to day. Around here at Wisco, where my business is, where we work, which is also here at Blacktop Banner. I'm hoping to separate these two really soon, as we get some people moving up and things here at Wisco. But we support a mission called Mission Impact. I went there. It impacted my life. We send kids through school there as well. And then they write us letters back. And I promise you, we got some awards here out front for our work that we've done throughout the years. nothing feels as good as those letters from those kids and us inspiring them just by believing in them to pay for their school in Guatemala to go through for the year. Man, it's just like you said, it's like speaking life, like that moment where you're motivating kids, you're leading them, and they believe for just a minute is all they need to believe for a minute, feel some success, and it takes off. So when we talk about you in the sports game and sports management game, what are some lessons that you learned? And we'll get to, I guess I want it to be a two-part. We'll let that be the second part. The first part is, how did you even venture into sports management and sports agency, Ray? Like, you got out of college and just looked for an athlete and was like, man, I'm going to represent somebody. Like, how do we do that?
I mean, sometimes in life there has to be like some luck in what you do, to get to a certain level. And my whole plan was to go be a professional athlete, and I had a chance to go to the Arizona Cardinals, got hurt doing practice, and that changed, my game changed up. And so my vision and my thing that I wanted to do, I wanted to be a computer scientist.
Really?
Yeah, that was college. That was my first major. That's what I did. But then my coaches told me that you're playing two sports, computer science and economics is too hard of a path for you to follow to play two sports. And so I said, okay, all right, what's the next best thing? Sports management. And I got into it that way.
That's wild.
It's crazy when I look back on it, and I think how did I let them tell me what my path was going to be?
Yeah.
But now I've come back into tech, so we'll talk about that in a second. But I was drawn to the legal side of sports. And so sports law classes are ones I showed up to all the time. My economics classes ones I showed up to all the time. My botany and everything else, the core classes I did do really well. But those are the classes that I was interested in. I went and I was voracious about learning about the history, about people. And my buddy in college, thank God, he was number 11 pick in the NBA draft, guy named Gary Trent.
So,
So we had a crew called Young Guns in college, and he said, here, help me with this. So I helped him. I started helping other friends and other people because they trusted me that I was a straight up dude. Mm-hmm. So that's how it started. And then my focus was because I saw the differentiator. This is one of the biggest things my father's career showed me. When he started out at a young age, he came out of the Olympics. He was very popular. He wanted to quit and go to be a University of Maryland and get a degree. But my grandfather got sick, so he had to figure out how to make money to pay the bills.
Okay.
So he asked one of his trusted advisors, a guy named James Morton, how do I make money? He said, turn pro. And so his attorney, Mike Trainer at the time, said, instead of you signing with Don King, because Don King, who's the biggest promoter, y'all know him with the big hair.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, sir.
With a bag of cash at like $250,000 in like a bathroom. And you're thinking about it, a kid that's probably 20 years old and needs money.
Oh yeah.
You see that somebody that's offering you something so big up front. He was able to turn that down. He had to turn it down and said, okay, I'm gonna invest in myself. So his attorney got 30 of his friends to put $1,000 up and create a business and say, here, you are the business of Sugar Ray Leonard. So you own everything that is Sugar Ray Leonard. And so after his first fight, he got $45,000 and paid all his investors back with interest and was a free agent. So he owned himself.
Wow.
So there's a thing about, if you don't know the business, that you become a part of the business and the business owns you.
Yeah.
So you own the business and you own yourself as a person, you're able to make a lot better decisions. And so he was making $10 million on a fight in 1980.
Man.
Are now here in 2022 that are making $10 million a fight and own his footage.
Wow. Oh, he did?
Yes.
Because he was a business.
He still did.
Man, what a move.
And he had no idea, but he had a trusted advisor that helped him to believe in himself and say, here, your business is bigger than what they offer you.
Okay.
Paycheck. So now when we looking back on it, like we have ownership of our lives.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a big deal nowadays, man, because you see, there's a lot of people who, for years and years and years, their family can still prosper on some of that footage and some of those things later on in life. And then you also hear the flip side of that coin, where there's people that just took that money up front, like you were saying, and said, you own me, and they don't get anything off of those residuals and those things over the years.
Yeah.
So it's,
Muhammad Ali sold 50% of his brand for $25 million.
oh my goodness, man.
Get Muhammad Ali, who is one of the most iconic brands in the world, in line with Jordan, right?
Yeah, that's them right there. That's
Yeah.
Muhammad Ali. That's Michael Jordan right there. Those are my two.
Exactly. What is the Jordan brand worth?
Oh God. Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord.
So,
Unbelievable.
so Ali's brand was sold short, and so his family, who are friends of mine, family, they are family to me.
Yeah.
At times when things are hard, you make tough decisions sometimes, but
Yeah.
there people have made billions of dollars off of his brand.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah. And I think it's, you do that in a lot of different aspects people do in life. They settle for the short term versus the long term. And when you're in business, especially if you came from where I came from, you sacrificed a lot early on, because that first money that came in, I had never seen that type of money before. And it would have been real easy to go ahead to the bank, finance myself a new truck, finance a new car, go ahead and finance a real nice house and get it going. But then I wouldn't have had that money to put back into the business and help it grow and help it get rolling to where it is now. So, it's a valuable lesson, I think, across the board there of, hey, make sure you're making smart moves. Think about it if it's possible. There were times where I had to spend the money, and we needed it. So you had to, but, that's only one aspect, man, of what you do, though, right? Because when you go ahead and follow you a little bit, you'll find out about the consulting business, the media business, sports and entertainment now, obviously, all those kinds of things. You want to go ahead and just kind of talk about that kind of stuff now, like, serial entrepreneurship, which is a fascinating thing and a real thing nowadays.
Yeah. Like you said, that one time where you're in a tough situation and eating bread sandwiches and struggling, like, you never want to go back to that. And
No.
so for me, when I learned, and I sought out mentors to say, okay, here, like, how do I not ever go back to that? How can I build generational wealth? How can I do something bigger for myself and for my kids and for my family and for my community? And people look at me sometimes like, damn, Ray, you involved in a lot of stuff, man. I was like, well, if you look at the portfolios of very successful people, they have a lot of different interests.
Yeah.
Mean that this is their same passion, but they're invested in other things.
Right.
So when you look at my portfolio of things that I'm doing, there is one true calling, is that I'm intentional about what I do. So
Yeah.
my consulting business, where I do training for corporations, for the military. My business partner, she's a backseater in F-14s in the military. She's Navy veteran. She's one of the first women to integrate aircraft carriers. I can depend on her to help lead that and control that business. So when I need to come in, I'm doing training with her. We do training on diversity. We do training on destructive behavior or leadership counseling, those different things for the military bases and for different companies. And if I have to hire somebody, I hire somebody. So that company is self-autonomous. It functions on its own.
Okay.
Sports business, I have an amazing person, a young lady who is named Pamela Crockett, who's an attorney. And she is a coach, and she runs my sports management and entertainment business right now. So my new passion is venture building.
I got
So
you.
I'm a partner in a venture studio called Nobody Studios, and our goal is to build 100 companies in 5 years. So independent, small companies, and giving opportunity to young people or people that have business ideas, and we can help it flourish by providing the resources, from capital to talent to people that have already done it multiple times and have a success, for the opportunity that people that can be involved in the company to have partners in the success of the company.
Man,
I do.
do you find that just because Prince and I talk about this once in a while when we conversate. And so I'm curious about your take on it as well. Doing what you just are meant to do, what you feel like you're meant to do, and then doing positive things, good things. I've always been amazed that people can build businesses on that, right? On just helping people and just doing good things. And when you talk about that, like we want to do 100 businesses in 5 years. That's not that far fetched when there's thousands of ideas every day for people for businesses. What can you talk about that a little bit? The feeling of just being, hey man, we're doing something positive and good, and we're growing a business on it.
So I'm a big energy person, and so that, I mean, that's even how Prince and I met and became quick friends, because I love the energy of people. When you feel that positivity of somebody that wants to be better and do better. Um, it was weird because my wife and I, it was my birthday weekend, and we were down in San Diego for a festival called the Waterfront Festival. And my nephew, my wife's nephew, his ex-girlfriend was down there, and she reached out to us and said, she's in town. So we said, let's go have brunch. And her cousin was Prince's wife.
Oh, okay.
We connected there, and then me and Prince hit it off right away because I was supposed to go to Georgia Tech. I committed to go to Georgia Tech to play football.
Okay.
When Bobby Ross left, so we had that connection immediately. But then we just had energy. We sat at brunch. We talked the whole time. I said, "Dude, let's do something."
Yeah.
We didn't know what we wanted to do.
Right.
He's like, "Okay, here. This is life. Let's have fun." I didn't realize he was a monk or went through that whole the meditation and all the things that he's gone through. And once you open up and hear somebody else's story and open your heart to somebody else, man, it builds good people around you. So it's a book called The Go-Giver.
Yeah. Beautiful book.
Yeah. And so it's like you do things for people for no reason.
Yeah.
But other than to say, here, you want to help and bless somebody else. You don't ask anything in return. And that was kind of the energy that we both had. So we ended up doing a podcast together. We're building some other business things together. But it's just the energy. I mean, life is here for the opportunity for you to do it. So and I don't want to work with people that I don't like.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Really like I mean, it's not like I don't like a whole lot of people, but like your energy has to match my energy, because I don't have time to be bogged down by people that aren't in the same space.
Yeah, I just posted a video here, maybe this week, and it was Tyson Fury giving a speech after one of his fights, and he said, if you got F all and you're a good person, you're all right with me. It's like, but if you're not and you're a bad person, I don't have time for you in my life. I only have time for good people. And it was just like, yeah, that's right. You nailed it. Yeah, that's right.
Or we talk about, because I had this conversation with somebody earlier today, and I was doing another podcast, and they were like, like, how do you feel about success and all the things that you've gained? I don't give a crap about these things that I've gained. I said, because those are material things, and they can be taken from me tomorrow. And so my base, what I'm built upon being a good person, loving people, and trying to leave this world better than I found it.
Yeah.
And so what people say about me when I'm gone doesn't matter, but it's about how people felt and had the energy that I gave and what I left behind.
Yeah, I think so. And that's, you've come to find out that that's all life's about, is energy anyways, and that energy can go on with the life you live right now. Like, the impacts you make and how you live your life, that energy keeps flowing through other people long after you're gone. And it's a beautiful thing. And let's, we both got energy from our boy Prince. So real quick, we can touch on your guys' podcast, Ringside. I love that one. You guys relax a little bit when you're on there, with Prince dances anyways all the time, but you guys loosen up a little bit on that one.
Yeah. So we started it in this kind of, it's like, hey, we just gonna talk about sports and just kind of have fun, and just it was during right after the pandemic, or during the pandemic, let's do something to keep our minds fresh, to talk to people, engage with the audience. And it's built up where we have a consistent audience, a consistent group of people. We have cast members that always come on, that text us and message us every single day about what's going on in sports, and we just have fun. So I mean, it's an outlet for us to talk about what's happening in industries that we care about and love, but also to educate and inspire other people, because we always leave with some kind of important inspirational word at the end of what we're doing. So
Yeah.
it's like, all right, here, imagine ESPN with a touch to try to educate you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, not just here. You got just proponents of saying this is this is my opinion or something, but also giving you something to do with that energy that you have. Like we always say, you talk about energy.
Yeah.
If I give you a whole bunch of negative opinions, don't positive energy from it, then it's gonna leave you negative at the end of your day. So you can't fill up the negative spot without balancing it out with the positive.
No.
So it's that tilting thing.
Yeah. And then right out here just yesterday, we painted some stencils. One of our show sponsors, Stencil Plus, can make any stencil you want, right? Any plastic stencil you want. So I sent over, we got orientation here tomorrow for our new crew members and our current crew members at Wiscote. And right on the floor, the very first thing when you come in says, be positive here. Like that's the very first thing when you come through the door, says be positive here. And that's the first thing I want people to see and think about when they come in here, is anything that was negative, we can leave that behind us right outside the door before we come in here. And what's funny is we talk about Prince. When we first connected and I asked him to be on the podcast, he's like, well, yeah, we can talk about football. I'm like, man, I don't want to talk about football. I said, I want to talk about how you found the light that you got inside you. Like, what? Tell me where that came from. And then all of a sudden it was game on. I was like, man, I know about your football life. Like, I want to know about you now. And it's that positivity. It just leaks through and it bleeds through, and it can do so much for people's lives, not only your life, but the people you shed it to, and I see that in your work.
Yeah, and when he came up with Game Beyond the Game, and so we came up to my area here and we met, and he's like, what do you think? I was like, I think it's brilliant. I think what you're doing is the right thing. And how do you feel about what you're doing? Because if you feel great about it, it's going to work. It's going to go the right way.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if you're thinking about what you're doing from the wrong standpoint, it's not going to manifest itself the way it is.
Yeah, you did good, and I think you've led really good with the Know Better Do Better podcast. We can touch on that because that's what your grandfather said: know better, do better, right?
Yeah, and so I'm I guess I don't know how many years older than Prince, probably 10 years older than him, I think, or maybe more. And that was kind of the thing that I was during that time. I was a paid motivational, inspirational speaker, because I always say I can't motivate you to do something. I can inspire you to find your motivation to what you need to do, but I can't. Yeah. Your motivation has to be intrinsic within you.
Yes.
So that was the whole thought process of when I built my podcast, Know Better, Do Better. It was, to honor my grandfather, to honor his service, to honor, because he had just passed away, and that was 2020 had just come up, and pandemic happened, and 60 paid speeches, and all of a sudden my big income stream had just shut down, and I was sitting here like all of us were sitting here like, okay, what the hell are we gonna do? Well, I guess I'm not gonna be go like a turtle and go to a shell. I'm gonna find out a way to keep my brand going.
Yeah.
Keep people. So that's what I built, and had some amazing people onto the platform, telling their stories, and it's all about the journey. To show that everything people see on their Instagram or Facebook lives, that people post the best part of themselves, are not really what life is about. It's about, you have to go through a struggle. If you haven't been through something, you can't get to somewhere, right? So what the whole podcast is about. It's about telling your worst fears, your worst times in your life, and showing how you came through that, because it can inspire and help somebody else when they're in that space to get to that level. So it's never about the big celebrity. It's never about the space. Although I've had some pretty big people on the platform.
Yeah.
It's, here your worst moment in your life. How did you get through it? And so that's what we need to share. Because once we're able to get through that, you're like, okay, shit, nothing else going to slow me down because I came through the worst.
Oh
So,
yeah.
like this is little stuff.
Yeah, yeah, and then you talk about big people on the podcast, big names and big people. You had Everson Walls on there. I'm an old Cowboys fan from when I was a kid, man.
Good man, you good man. That's what I thought. See, Prince won't like that, but I am a diehard Cowboys fan.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
a native, but I'm a Cowboys fan.
I got you. I got you. Yeah, to touch on that point, I took my kid, my son Eli. I took him to where I grew up, right, and showed him how I came out of that and what I came through and why I go so hard every day. And they know that I spend more time than their kids as parents doing what I do, and they know that I do things a lot differently than what those other parents do. And I was really important for me to show them, hey, man, at one point it was bad, real bad. And this is why I do what I do. And I hopefully, they mimic that going into the future and they listen to my words as well and take it to heart because I would love to see them just live a happy, fulfilled life as well. And that's all I want. I don't care what they do as long as they're happy. And, for me, that happiness is the success that I'm having and that I'm pushing for right now. It makes me happy to do this every day. It makes me happy to be with you on the podcast and to have our guests and to give them, to give to our charity that I love, Mission Impact. You also give to charities and a spokesperson for charities like Sugar Ray Leonard Foundation, right? And then I know there's a couple more. What ones were those ones?
Yeah. So Marvin, salute to you because
oh, thank you.
We talk about, for with your kids and other people around you, it's not what you say, is what you show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You got to just show up. You got to show that you care. You got to show that you're meaningful and purposeful in everything that you do. So I applaud you.
Thank you very much, my friend.
And so I had to go back and show my kids that too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They forget now
it could be like this. Exactly. If I stop, it could be like this.
But the causes that I support, my father's foundation, who we deal with, started out, we're just dealing with juvenile diabetes because it was such a big factor in our community, especially the Black community. That diabetes is one of the biggest killers of the community because of the high fructose and high sugar diets.
Yes, sir.
We've been in for forever. The Magic Johnson Foundation, who I was a mentor for years, and it was just providing opportunity just to show young people from my community that it's cool to be an attorney, or cool to be a sales manager, or cool to be a teacher. That's way cooler than being a drug dealer.
Yeah.
You see it and mentor to people and to young people and say, okay, here, you can make a great living. You can do really well for yourself. And you can be happy and live a happy life by doing this.
Mm-hmm.
So which nothing shows. So shout out to the Magic Johnson Foundation for allowing me. That's when I was in the finance business. So I was teaching people in my community about understanding finance, understanding about being an investment banker, that kind of thing. So it was a different process. And then one of the things that Walking Miracles is another thing that I'm involved in, as well as HBCU Heroes. But Walking Miracles, I'm actually doing a spotlight podcast on Brett Wilson.
Cool.
A kid I met when years ago in West Virginia. We were doing a basketball camp with a guy named Archie Talley, and Brett had terminal brain cancer at the point in time when he was about 10 years old. And
dang, man,
a young kid, and they said he had like 3 weeks to live, and I told him then. I mean, we were kids, and he said that it stuck with him. And I told him then. I would say, your path is only destined as when you say you're ready to give up. I said, if you're not ready to give up, you keep fighting. And so he kept fighting. Still here to this day.
Ain't that something?
Here,
man, oh man.
With the platform, the foundation called Walking Miracles.
Cool.
That supports families, and not just from the cancer space, but supports the families to be able to travel with their kids when they're going through something, because the hospital or the insurance can pay for the surgeries, but what about your family that has to be there with you for months and time?
I know, man. Yeah.
Therapy. So that's one of the big things that I champion. There's plenty more. So HBCU Heroes. My son goes to Grambling State and plays football. He's a freshman there. and supporting the HBCUs is a big thing with me too. So I
Cool.
got a lot of causes, a lot of things I support, but it's like I said, it's the energy for me.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that helps keep that energy where it should be. It keeps you selfless, lets a guy stay humble as well, because he knows that you're not putting that money towards something that is selfish, and I love that, and that's why we do that same thing here and encourage people to do that as well here. Let's talk about your socials real quick, because I would love people to find you, my friend, online. That my Instagram, your Instagram is one of my favorites to follow every day. Let's start with that one, and then you tell them where else to find you. They know they can find the podcast, Know Better, Do Better, and Ringside with Ray and Prince. But let's talk about your socials, where they can find you.
My socials, I got pretty good with just simple branding. Just put my name on it at Ray Leonard Jr.
Mm-hmm.
Everything from Twitter to Instagram to Facebook. And I love to have fun. My Instagram and Facebook are expansion of just me as a person. So I tell jokes on there. I post crazy pictures. I post crazy I laugh at. So it's just fun. It's not like here I'm gonna post 100 pictures of me coming out the gym looking sexy.
Yeah, I got you. I never post any of those of me. I'm so worried that people are gonna be jealous. I never post those, Ray. Yeah, I save them all for myself. It's a motivator. It's a motivator.
Yeah, I'm fat and 50 almost. So,
I got you.
but hey,
I'm bald and big. We'll just put it that way, my friend.
there we go. Yeah, so that might be a next podcast.
It could be. It could be.
Bald and big.
I guarantee you, there's some people that can relate to that one.
You can't have fun and laugh at yourself, man. And you do the bad.
I know. Well, let's talk about fun here. We're gonna do a pod deck real quick. I know I showed you one of the cards beforehand is a hot dog, a sandwich, and that's one of the better ones. But we'll shuffle it up real quick, and I'll just draw a random one out, and we'll see. None of them are like vulgar or anything like that. They're all good fun. All right. So this says serious question. Do you count your steps?
No. Hell no. I had the Apple Watch, and then I got frustrated with it because it wasn't counting my steps, and I could just do this and get me.
Yeah.
No, I don't count them.
What about your workout routine? You got one every day you go through? You exercise every day or every other day? Do you got a routine you stick to?
Yeah, I try to exercise at least 3 times a week.
I got you.
30 minutes. I would love to say that I do every day, but my life gets in the way.
It does.
I say it shouldn't, because I should have my routine. I should just know, here, this is what I need to do. But I get tired sometimes. So,
I got you.
And then Prince and the rest of the crew, they post these push-up
challenges. Yeah.
I feel bad if I don't send something back. So I try to stay within that, and that they keep me accountable. So yeah,
that's good enough. That's good. That, a few times a week is going to keep you here a while, and that's all we want. As long as we can keep you here and you doing your thing, that'll be great. Let's give one piece of advice, my friend. You've been one of the most experienced people that I've ever come across and had the pleasure of speaking with. There has to be a real good staple of advice, and even if you want to just explain Know Better, Do Better in its entirety, that would be great too as well. But I would really like for you to give a good piece of advice to our listeners.
Yeah. So my biggest advice is be true to you. Like, don't live anybody else's life. When I talk about us having our own fingerprint and our own DNA for a reason. Your fingerprint is not identical to anybody else, because you have to leave your own mark on this world. And your mark is special. So whatever you're giving back, that energy that you're giving back, the life that you live, it's yours. You have control over it. Don't let anybody tell you that how you living is wrong or what you're doing is wrong. That this is your life, and then this is how you leave your imprint on the world. So my grandfather told me Know Better, Do Better. When I was young, I first thought it was about just learning from your mistakes and trying not to make that happen again, because they said the definition of insanity was doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Yeah.
But what I learned is Know Better, Do Better is seeking knowledge and trying to be better than you were yesterday.
I got you.
If I add to what I already have the day before, then I'm continuously building upon the person that I am. And the person that I am can be the best that I can be if I'm trying to strive to get better every day. And it doesn't mean that I have to be better, financially, or doesn't mean I have better, from what my career is, or all these different things. But I'm better as a person. So mentally, I'm better.
Yeah.
Okay with who I am and how I lead myself. And when my time expires, because we all have an expiration date.
Yes, sir.
I'm okay with the life I live, and I'm comfortable in my own skin. So that's what it means to be no better than better.
I love it. I love it. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you being here today and joining us today, Ray. It's been a pleasure. I love picking brains, and I very much appreciate you allowing me to do so. I wish you nothing but the best, my friend. If there's anything we can do in the asphalt world, we would definitely love to have you join us at some point. And anytime there's expos and conferences and everything else, I speak at some of those from time to time as well. It would be really great to be able to collaborate and do some of that stuff down the line. It's a big industry, and asphalt touches everybody, as we've come to find out. And I really appreciate that. Thank you very much for being here.
Yeah, I invite you to be on my platform, ovations.com, a new tech platform that I'm launching. And basically that's what it does. It's giving the opportunity to people that are experts in their field to speak and monetize, what they're doing. So
cool. I'd love to do that. I'm in. Sign me up. I'll go ahead. I'll be in there.
I haven't said to you, my man.
Beautiful. All right. Sounds good. I'm in. I'd love to be able to do that with you. All right. For myself and for Ray Leonard Jr., this is Blacktop Banter. This has been episode 64. And here we speak asphalt. We did speak a little bit of asphalt, right? That's good. That's all we need to do. But we speak about hard stuff too, and asphalt's hard. So hey, it all works out. All right. As always, we want you to seal it, pave it, stripe it, and kill it. Peace.